Liberation greetings to all and sundry, my dear people of Ambazonia, my fellow brave warriors of the Southern Cameroon's liberation movement. Accept liberation greetings from me, Comrade John Akuro, this day. Today is Wednesday, and this Wednesday is November 8th, 2023. My people of Ambazonia, a few days, I should say 2 days after the very heinous act that resulted to the deaths of over 30 people in Egbeko, in Ambazonia, in Mamfe, controversy is still very rife surrounding the exact perpetrators of that evil crime. I was here on the set to talk about this particular incident, and I did play the voices of some of the actors who were close to the scene of the event and who had a clear idea exactly what happened. But again, I mentioned that there were a lot of other versions emerging from here and there as to what might have happened. And you definitely have observed that even some international media houses that were pompous from the point go to come out and announce that it was the Ambazonian self-defense volunteers, whom they refer to as separatists, who were at the origin of those killings. Some of them had to backpedal to say it was an act caused by, a group within the framework of a tribal or land dispute or something of the sort. An example of such media organs is RFE. RFE, the first report that I saw on the website, that I read on the website, absolutely made clear that these killings were carried out by those they referred to as Amber Boys. But thereafter, the next day, I followed on RFI platform, Le Journal Afrique of 4:30 a.m., 5:30 a.m., and 6:30 a.m. of November 7, 2023, that's yesterday. They were at this point attributing responsibility for these killings to, a group of people who came out for vengeance within the framework of an intertribal war. But again, like I said, you're going to keep having some of those kind of, talks coming here and there, especially you're going to hear, especially those from the government side who know exactly what happened, who were at the origin of what happened because of the timing. They have not relented in their attempts to try to give a narrative according to which Ambazonia, Ambazonians, those seeking the freedom of our land, those of us seeking to kick La République du Cameroon out of our land, are responsible for these heinous acts. And they even go as far as trying to give the impression that the murderous army of La République du Cameroon, known worldwide for carrying out a scorched earth policy in our land, have never committed any harm to anyone in Manu. Within the framework of this broadcast, we are going to be looking at some of these issues, and I bet you will be embarrassed what you will hear. But again, facts never lie, and I'm here with a package to be able to demonstrate beyond reasonable doubt how some of these apologists of evil are continuing to play, to toy with the lives of our people. And while all this was going on, most embarrassingly, while all this was going on, Mr. Paul Biya offered himself the luxury to be celebrating 41 years of developmental drought in this country. And he calls Ambazonia his territory. That people are massacred. Imagine that kind of thing happened in the United States of America, would you hear President Biden sitting and having dinner and lunch, popping champagne and cutting cakes, blowing candles in the White House? That's not going to happen. Will you hear that happen in France? And Emmanuel Macron will be offering himself the luxury that Biya was offering. That is not going to happen. Yes, it will not happen. But take a look at this. This is Paul Biya here. That is Paul Biya. I call this a pleasure boat on a turbulent sea. Fighting 41 years of torture, 41 years of the promotion of tribalism, 41 years of the enforcement of divide and rule, 41 years of the enforcement of poverty as a public policy, 41 years of dehumanization, even at a time that the blood of a people is flowing mercilessly. Paul Biya was there busy celebrating 41 years in power. And trust me, for Tabetando, Ari Mengot Nkongo, Mr. Takung Cho, and all other so-called Manu elite, the CPDM apparatchiks who were present in Mamfe when this thing happened, still had the guts to go and enter a hall, eat, drink, and dance that they were celebrating Mr. Paul Biya. And this happened in the southern zone, the place they call Southwest. That while the people were mourning, wailing, tearing themselves on the ground in Mamfe, just next door, that's a few kilometers away, because it's a road that just takes you about 2-3 hours, and you will find yourself in Indian. Here, Indian, this is and you see, these people, I hear that they are dancing, they are celebrating 41 years of Paul Biya in power. I don't even know how they got there. Whether they got there by boats or the elite might have managed to come there by helicopter and all of those things. And you find them there that they are dancing, that they are celebrating 41 years of Mr. Paul Biya. While next door, their brethren are in mourning, are weeping, are in tears, blood has flown, but they don't care. And you know, the most embarrassing, the most humiliating thing, the most disgusting thing is that they tell us that these boys that you see who were dancing like this are Amba generals who have surrendered and have not only surrendered, they have not surrendered and moved into the DDR, they haven't surrendered and joined the CPDM already, and then they were like that dancing to the rhythm of the. You can see this is Indian. Take another look at it. This is what they did. Ask them where is their humanity. But they won't care. They won't budge. They won't think of anything for one simple reason, folks. The simple reason they won't budge is that they have a narrative. Is that they make sure this should happen because they have one objective. Tell Paul Biya that we are ready to kill all our people to show you loyalty, to force them to come under you, so that the little crumbs that they are having, they should continue to have. It's a shame and it's a pity. And after taking time off to blow his candles, to relax himself, Paul Biya has never cared whether what happened to anybody in that country. Even when, in this country, even when in Bankomo, next door to him, that's in Bankolo, I kept saying Bankomo, in Bankolo, not far away, that's around Quartier du Golf, not far away from Quartier du Golf. And Quartier du Golf is quite close to the Unity Palace. Paul Biya did not step his leg at the scene in Bankolo, where, a man-made lake gave way and swept away over 100 lives. Paul Biya never passed there. And you see, we have had far more unfortunate situations than this. Even when it happened in Gabu, Paul Biya never issued a press release like he issued this one today. And the content of this press release, folks, is very, very telling. And this press release issued on the 7th. Happened on the 6th, he had time to enjoy himself, relax, pop champagne, do everything, sleep, then get up the next day before they tell him that, Mr. President, the whole world is talking. Mr. President, as you see, this thing, the repeat of that Gabu is likely to. Then he comes out and hatches a press release. And if you hear the content of this press release, I'd like us to delve into it a bit. He says, this Yaoundé, le 7 novembre 2023, that's 7 November 2023, the President of the Republic, writing to the colonial governor of the Southwest, says, Mr. Governor, I have learned with consternation, a huge number of human losses following an attack, a barbaric attack carried out by an armed group in Mamfe. Listen, carried out by an armed group in Mamfe. Now, I like us to be very, very technical when we listen and read some of this kind of documents. Mr. Paul Biya has never been shy when it comes to accusing our self-defense volunteers of certain kind of acts that he calls barbaric, because he wants to call the attention of the world to the fact that our people are terrorists, and he's tried that a lot and failed. And so therefore, why is Mr. Paul Biya here referring to an armed group? Because the internal sources have told him, don't humiliate yourself, Mr. President. And you can't stay quiet because the rights groups are going to get the truth and they will begin asking for an international investigation. So he needs to come ahead first. He needs to jump ahead first and claim that he is setting up a team to investigate, because we know how the results of investigations conducted by teams directed by Mr. Paul Biya in that country have ended. Where did we end with Ngabu? The only reason he would do this is because voices have already been raised asking for an impartial international investigation into what happened in Mamfe. And he knows that the truth will not be long in coming out. And that is why, cautiously, he says here, j'ai pris connaissance avec émoi du bilan humain élevé, suite à l'attaque lâche et barbare perpétrée par un groupe armé dans la ville de Mamfe. Un groupe armé. So when Mr. Paul Biya is saying un groupe armé, you have stupid surrogates like Kawa Yane, my country people them, and others with one person calling himself Takuncho, that is from Manu, making lousy claims. The government of Mr. Paul Biya knows the truth. And that's why he says, je condamne avec fermeté cet acte horrible qui a ôté la vie à d'innocents et paisibles citoyens. That are condemned with the last energy this barbaric act that has claimed the lives of innocent civilians. Il dit, j'ai instruit les autorités compétentes d'organiser en urgence l'assistance aux familles des victimes et aux blessés. That is ordered that they should bring aid. I said here in my last broadcast that when they do this, when they cause all of this, they'll be the first to come back. We know, like we always say in our African proverbial languages, that the person that commits murder is always the first to the scene with tears and ready to bring all kind of help to the family of the person that has been murdered. It's that simple. Why? Because did we see Mr. Paul Biya in other places going to give assistance? No, we haven't seen. Inside Ambazonia, we haven't seen Mr. Paul Biya going. It happened in Kumba to school children. Did Mr. Paul Biya send a team to go there and offer things? I know that Mr. Atanga Ponji went there rather to accuse and create confusion. Did Mr. Paul Biya send somebody to Ekondo Titi? Did Mr. send somebody to Mankon? Did Mr. Paul Biya send somebody to Kejom Keku? Did Mr. Paul Biya send somebody to Womb, where the Fulanis operating with his thugs, the army of La République du Cameroon, visited pain, desolation, and death on innocent civilians. Did he send? Even when his thugs opened fire on the phone of Isu, did he send? Listen, I like us to be very careful because I saw some people come and write, oh, you have lied here, you have said this, and I just look at it and I laugh. I said, because you have no idea exactly what is going on. You have no idea how this evil government functions. If you had the least idea, you would understand exactly where I'm coming from. I don't talk on these things regarding la République du Cameroun from the blues. So il said, je vous demande également de rassurer les familles endeuillées et nos concitoyens du Sud-Ouest que tous les moyens possibles seront déployés pour retrouver et punir les coupables avec toute la rigueur de la loi. Did you hear that? That the governor, his colonial governor, should reassure the people that the government is going to put in place all measures to track, to find out the perpetrators of this act. Why? Because according to Mr. Paul Biya, his government at this point in time cannot say for certain who committed the act. This is what it means. And he confirms what I'm saying. Il dit, toutes les entreprises qui sèment l'insécurité dans notre pays seront toujours vouées à l'échec, car l'unité et la stabilité de notre nation sont bien les plus précieux. But like I said, he said that there will be an investigation. They will track and punish. Track and punish. For now, they don't know. They will investigate. But while Mr. Paul Biya in his communique is showing this kind of confusion, it's indicating he doesn't know who has committed this act. Like I said earlier, you have some hoodlums. Sorry to call them that name, but that's exactly whom they are. You have some hoodlums emerging from nowhere and telling us that, as a matter of fact, these acts were carried out by our self-defense volunteers. So, my dear people of Ambazonia, I like us to take the pains to listen calmly to Mr. Ayuk Takuncho. Of course, this is a CPDM hoodlum from Manu. Say what he is saying here. Because this is very, very important in educating our people. I said here before that in Egbeko, the people there have never had any situation where they say they betrayed a self-defense volunteer. The army of La République du Cameroon has been very vexed and very angry that the people there were not cooperating with them, and self-defense volunteers, those called Amber Boys, used to pass through Egbeko to come to the gendarmerie and the military outposts around there and wreak havoc on their forces. Recall that even Kawa Yanigwe was talking said that the gendarmerie brigade is less than 10 minutes. He said very close to the scene of what happened. And again, not far away from there, there's a military outpost, which means Egbeko is actually sandwiched in between the gendarmerie brigade and the military outpost. How then could people come from nowhere, operate there for hours and go? And then these forces only come in the morning to gather the population and keep down and start making lousy speeches. Let's follow Mel Takuncho Ayuk, because he himself here reveals that he knew that this act was going to be carried out on this day. He may think we are stupid when we listen to people. Just follow.
Bomana wotani ika Yamaya wotan Kuba Anyang Nkindi Ntameo. My brothers and sisters of Mamfe, Manu, Cameroon, home and abroad. Me, I not ever hide myself. I be Ayuk Takuncho, former footballer, former businessman, Mamfe Manu Pikin proper, former mayor for Mamfe. Present day, a mourner for which it not happen for we. on the 6th of November. Mami them, brothers and sisters, and if you go back for go start talk, the other atrocities where all we don't witness them from our church, school, hospital, massacres in the villages of Eshobi, Eyangtui, repeated massacres in these villages, Obonye, Bakinjo, Berlin, Kikukesem, and other places. In Chang village, after the Ben Catholic Church kidnapped priest, they moved now to Presbyterian Church, buried Agbombo Prizo, the chairman of PCC Church, alive. When these massacres take place for these places, and when they be born, Mamfe General Hospital, people talk in a military. When they kill people from Chang, the Ben Church, people say a military, they do and for do cover up. My brothers and sisters, I come out this morning, say I be there for Mamfe, time where this thing they happen. And even before one go Mamfe,
I like us to follow this portion very, very strictly because it's very, very premonitory. Like I said, there's no perfect crime. And so usually when they talk, people think that maybe there's some clowning around. This is, again, if you're just joining, make sure you share this link. I like that everyone out there, should be carefully informed of exactly what happened in Mamfe, what is going on in Mamfe. Because this manipulation has gone on for too long and we have to put an end to it. Let's listen again. And we're listening to Ayub Takuncho, former mayor of Mamfe, former colonial mayor of Mamfe, and of course, who is a CPDM hoodlum. Listen very carefully because knowing who he is very important in understanding what he is saying. Let's listen again.
Those way they will be there inside the same vehicle with them. They go bear me witness. Say, I be tell them, say, as we go Mamfe, make them not go Egbeko, make them not go Satum. I know much about this devilish and wicked picking them, their movements. I know much about it. And I am doing my best.
Now, did you hear this? He said when they were on their way to Mamfe, of course, he is not living in Mamfe. He was on his way to Mamfe for this November 6th. So he said the people who were in the vehicle with him, he warned them, when you arrive, don't go to Egbeko, don't go to Satom. Did you hear this? Don't go to Egbeko, don't go to Satom. Now, since this liberation movement, this phase of it, broke out in 2016, escalated in 2017, and the war has been raging on, we have not heard of anything inside Egbeko. Have we heard of any serious incidents in Egbeko where anybody was attacked, where some people's homes were burnt or whatsoever? No, it did not happen. Today, we are on November 8th. Right up to the day that it happened, the night of November 5, from the start of January until that moment, nothing had happened in Egbeko that could warrant Mr. Takuncho to be warning those who were coming with him in the vehicle not to go to Egbeko or to Satom. The reason is simple. Because he knew what they had planned to happen there. Recall I said here that someone with perfect knowledge of how this whole thing was planned and executed in Egbeko, in Mamfe, informed me, and you also saw the message even. Because like I said, so those messages were meant to be private. We share one person for them to have a clear understanding, and before long you see them circulating everywhere. This thing was a carefully planned act involving the local colonial administration, involving even the current mayor, involving the CPDM elite, involving the gendarmerie, involving the military, involving everyone. They sat together and planned this evil act. And Takuncho was aware. That's why he was warning those who were traveling with him so that they should not become victims of circumstance. Otherwise, why? Only that moment that they were going to celebrate their so-called bloody 41 years. Listen again.
From the temple of my heart to plead with them, make them lay down their guns, like our leaders. Our political leader, when this thing started, he came from Mamfe, moved from one church to another, warned all of us. His movement was greeted by one simple fact: they burned his house. They burned several houses. Those things did not be compared to what had happened for Mamfe Ebeko yesterday. This is the height of Ambazonia sheer evil, banality of evil. And anybody will get the smallest iota belief say na military do am, when I not say population don't already rubbish am.
Now, here Takuncho, you just had me read to you a statement by Mr. Paul Biya, the president of the Republic of Cameroon, of La République du Cameroon, who should have even more detailed information than Takuncho because he has sources reporting to him. The president of Cameroon refers to an armed group, some armed group. He has talked about Ambazonia over and over in his speeches. He has called us terrorists. He has said by terrorist groups operating this with this or that intentions. This time, Mr. Pobia could not dare that because he knows the truth pertinently. Takuncho comes and sits here and he's ranting. He's playing the devil's advocate. And there are audios like this because he knows that there will be people out there who, out of anger, frustration, and confusion, they will believe him. La République du Cameroon deployed all their, their social media soldiers, including some who are within our ranks, saying that they are with us, that they are our activists, to go out there and say Ambazonian activists or Ambazonian self-defense volunteers did this and try to give justification why it happened. We know that La République du Cameroon has been carefully carrying out a scorched-earth policy in our land. We know that La République du Cameroon has developed a policy that if you don't cooperate with them, they punish you and they bring collective punishment. That's what they did in Egbeko. And they did it on the premise that I explained yesterday. That as a matter of fact, or 2 days ago, that as a matter of fact, they're convinced that if it becomes very glaring that Amber Boys did not do it, that our self-defense volunteers did not do it, and it becomes so clear to everyone that they did not do it, they will offload it on the fact that there's been some misunderstanding between the people of Boki and Egbeko. That's simply it. But unfortunately for them, like I said, there is no perfect crime. And that's why you see these discordant voices, where others are swearing, no, it is Ambazonia. I told you already earlier. RFE had to backtrack and use now but the second version given by the same authorities in La République du Cameroon. It was an intertribal kind of thing. And that is why Mr. Paul Biya, in his press release, does not talk of the Ambazonian, to quote him, the Ambazonian terrorists, to quote him. But he talks of an armed group. So in fact, he falls short of saying unidentified gunmen. And then who is Takuncho? Who is Ayuk Takuncho? Because this is the point here. Sycophants always want to exploit even a situation of the deaths of theirs to see how to seek positioning within a murderous system. like Mr. Paul Bia's own. Let's listen to him again. And I'm coming. If you are just joining, fasten your seatbelt and listen carefully, but make sure you share because we need the truth to be established in these circumstances always. I've said it before. They were not after these people that they killed. They are after our thoughts, our aspirations. They are after our thirst, our desire to get freedom. They are after our determination, our resolve, and our resilience towards making sure we kick them out of our territory. That is what they are after. And these are people that they killed became victims of circumstance.
Because there is a certain number plus 24102151324 and co-host where they carry out a naked, a blatant, a brazen, and vicious propaganda saying a military do. When I hear briefly what happened, Tabot, when a self-acclaimed Ambazonia general, he died. Ambazonia fighters then carry from Beteme village, Canberry for Ebeko. Before the one Canberry, they don't plan. Say some of the attacks where military carry on for some villages and for Akwaya, military nothing know their hideout if population collaborate with military. And as such, they run the plan for carry out retaliatory acts against the population. And they are...
Now, do you hear that? You hear that? I said here before, especially when I was on this platform on November 6th, Monday, November 6th, I said the point where the military had to punish the people of Igbeko is that there are no black legs in Igbeko. That's the problem. That's the overall problem. And you heard my informant from Ground Zero in his own voice say no. Now because that area no get black leg, now why they want punish them? You heard it clearly. But now you hear Takuncho, who had warned people, don't go to Igbeko, don't go to Sato. While they were still in the vehicle coming or traveling to Mamfe to come and carry out their evil cult of a ritual called celebration of 41 years. He already warned the people whom he was traveling, don't go to Igbeko, don't go to Sato. You know how those things happen? Because you do not know if by some chance they could be attained in the carnage that was being planned. If you were doubting that Takuncho Ayuk was part of the planning, you have heard it from his own voice by yourselves. You have heard it from his own voice. Let's listen to him again as he tries to ramble.
They are already doing it in Akwaya. Akwaya children, they know. Asu Lucas, you who say you are Ambazonia spokesperson, you are from Akwaya, find out the truth. You know the truth. You are elder brother of late Sankara, who was staying in a house.
Now, do you hear him? Yesterday or Monday, I played the voice of someone who was saying, Asu Lucas, they have killed your people. This is the time for you to come and fight. Come and defend them. Listen, they have killed your brothers and sisters. They have raped your wives, raped your sisters. Come now, come and fight. Come and defend them. Listen, do you recall? Because I may go back to it. I may go back to it. And you hear it. And I definitely will before the end of this broadcast. You hear that? He said, come, those DDR boys who are said to have been part of the operation. Said, come now. He was speaking it with joy, with excitement. Your people have been killed. Come and fight for them. Takuncho here is calling Asu Lucas. You are from a place. He's literally saying the same thing. Your people have been killed. Come and fight for them. Now, if it is the self-defense volunteers that killed, will these people not rather be accusing Asu Lucas that you have sent your people to come and kill your own people? They think we are fools. They think when we listen with our nostrils. Or when we listen perhaps, should I say, with our eyes. No. We have ears and we have brains that can process whatever we listen to.
At New Layout was a friend. We used to eat together, we chop together until he can die. He best friend be Manget.
You see, all this
Mommy,
rambling,
Papa, brothers and sisters.
all this rambling.
Wait, you are the one talk this morning. Say that 6th November attack, it will be carried out by our own children. Akko, Wilson Dede, Jerome Dede, Eta Dede, Eta na Pazakios his son. Where Pazakios did Nigeria now, it don't beg them and leave him, he don't tire. He did Nigeria now for no good reason. Sumoli, the son of John Burinchi, he did it. Let Toma Bang he two twin and did it. Chimaka, the Northwesterner, he be used to do for Nchang, he be working for farms. We get information, say, but I don't know how true it is. Because some people then talk, say, they see some person like he, so when they say, we don't die since. But it will be there for their group. Maybe we don't die because of one of those operations.
Now you hear. What Paul Bia is saying, the perpetrators will be haunted and brought to book. What Paul Bia is saying, let me read his words. Sur l'attaque lâche et barbare perpétrée par un groupe armé. What Paul Bia is referring to un groupe armé, means they don't know them. Takuncho Ayuk knows them until he even knows their names. He has even resurrected Smalley and other people who had long died and brought them to come and carry out the attack. And he himself said, oh, this one, I think, I even learned that he had died. But he said, but you see, he was among them. Can you hear this? So if Ayuk Takuncho knows all of these people, why should Paul Bia still be saying they need an investigation? For what? Why is it true to still be saying, oh, we'll track those people? They already know them. And so where did Takuncho stand to know all these people, to identify that they were involved in this operation? I said it before. This was a clear playbook. You carry out the act. You come and stand now, you accuse, you call some people's names in the hope that some gullible ones in the community will believe that those people whose names you are calling committed this act. Folks, I said it here. When I said some people disputed, this is Takuncho raising his hand up himself to say, I was involved in this operation. I know exactly what happened in this operation. I was aware beforehand that it will happen. And I had warned some of mine not to go to the place because I knew that it would happen. This is an open and closed case. I don't know if anyone thinks that I really have anything more to say to this. This is an open and closed case. Takuncho does not make any mystery of the fact that he was aware that something will happen and at this specific time. Because like I'm saying, why didn't he warn people in January? Why did he not warn people in February, in March, in April, in May, in June? Not even in July. No, not August. Not September. Not even October. He only warned them while he was on his way. Definitely on the 5th or on the 4th, getting to Mamfe to be there at the scene when this heinous act will be perpetrated on our people. And he warned them, don't go to Egbeko, don't go to Sato. Because he knew pertinently what was going to happen that day, around that time. He only came short of telling them it will happen around this time. And today he comes rambling here, trying to call names, exhuming even dead people from the graves and bringing them to the scene of the operation. Shameful. That Takuncho Ayuki is talking about the same people that he claimed he had been mayor upon, that he claimed he's a CPDM elite upon. Takuncho. It's very embarrassing. We saw some of the so-called elite of Donga Manto, including Gala Gerald, and others come out and claim that they had clear evidence that what happened in Gabu was carried out by our self-defense volunteers. And they also claimed at the time that it was revenge because they were accusing those people of being blacklegs. At the end of the day, what was the result? What was the result? And they know no shame. That's why they will continue doing it.
These and others, 85% of this attack, it will be carried out by acquired children in collaboration with Ambazonian fighters of Mamfe Central, led by Eta, Bison, Smalley, and others. Anything about the military, now a dangerous propaganda, but a wasteful propaganda, because the population be above that one.
Can you hear that? First, he says 85% of the act were carried out by children from Akwaya with Ambazonian fighters in Mamfe. Now, anything about the military that the military has ever done, anything is wasteful propaganda. Who took charge of the other 15%? Let's give it to you, Takuncho. Who took charge of the other 15%? The military did nothing. Who took charge of the other 15%? I don't want to waste a lot of our time with Takuncho because, of course, we have established very clearly now, beyond reasonable doubt, that Takuncho was aware that this act was going to be perpetrated on our people. And so there is no more doubt about it. But I want us to therefore go on now to demonstrate to Takuncho that he is a congenital liar. Mr. Takuncho, this is Bishop Nkia. I call him Bishop Nkia, not Archbishop Andrew Nkia, because at this time he was Bishop Nkia, Bishop of Mamfe. You see him on the field here? He gave an extensive interview or extensive interviews to several media organs to say how the military of Mr. Paul Biya visited carnage in this locality. They went visiting and communing with the people. They razed an entire village and all the people had to run away into Nigeria. Bishop Nkia was bishop then. He granted several interviews. I had a rare opportunity of exchanging with him personally here in the United States regarding this situation in Mamfe. At the time, he was still Bishop of Mamfe. Takuncho, you said the military did nothing, right? I'm saying the Bishop of Mamfe. You said the military did nothing. I'm showing you this picture. Perhaps you think that we have forgotten. We have archives. We carefully document everything that happens. This is the Bishop of Mamfe. Shocked, embarrassed by the desolation caused by the military on the local population. He moved into the place, he was lost and he was confused. And he told whoever was ready to hear. The military did not even dispute this, Takuncho. The military made clear it was part of their scorched earth policy to punish the local populations for not cooperating with them to kill their own children and kill their own very dream for freedom. Mr. Takuncho. And now you talked about killing father. You see, this is the Crooks. The Crooks newspaper. The Crooks media organ is a Roman Catholic run international news organ. And you see here, if you look at the title under, what is written under there, it says Bishop disputes government's account of who killed the priest. And this had to do with a Kenyan priest that was brutally murdered in Mamfe. Has to do with a Kenyan priest that was brutally murdered in Mamfe by the military of La République du Cameroon. And the government along with its apparatchiks, including Takuncho, came out to try to promote this kind of stupid narrative that we're hearing him promote here, that the government was not involved, the military was not involved. But Bishop Kia came out strong. That's why you see the Cook says Cameroon bishop disputes government account of priest's murder. The Crooks. It's in the Crooks, international Catholic media outlet. You can check it out and you see exactly what I'm talking about. So that this charlatan, this apprentice sorcerer called Takuncho, should know that facts are facts and they are very stubborn. There is no way you can overwhelm facts. They are there, hidden, clear. And Mr. CPDM Aparachi Takuncho, listen to Christian Cardinal Tumi. On CRTV, the government-sponsored media, listen to him.
That was our problem. Do you call that rebellion?
No, I don't know. I won't define
Of
rebellion.
course, it is a good rebellion. You can rebel. I said a moment ago that a Christian is a rebel against evil.
But how do you reconcile that with the fact that the Bible requests that you pray for your leaders?
We pray for the rebels.
We pray for them.
Pray for the rebels?
Yes.
That God should help change them?
We pray for these boys in the bushes. We pray for the army. Most of the killing is done by the army. It's not done by these boys.
Do you have empirical facts?
Oh, of course. Objective study, which is still going on. In Kumbo, 400 people have been killed in the diocese of Kumbo. The Bishop of Kumbo and his priests and some lay have made a study. And the majority of those who have been killed have not been killed by these boys because they do not have the sophisticated arms that the army has. Maybe if they had, they would have killed more, but they don't have the possibility of killing more. Okay. The army comes in, a rebel boy has killed maybe one military man. He runs away, the entire family, and they mow down everybody.
Is that true?
Did you hear that, Takuncho? Mr. Ayuk Takuncho, did you hear that? I really think Mr. Ayuk Takuncho and all those like him need to be informed that when some of the military commanders were killed by an improvised explosive device, IED, on the Mbengui Road around what do you call it, top? But I think the top is right in there on the Mbengui Road, around Azeri Oche Junction, going right inside there on the Mbengui Road. What did the military do? They burnt down houses of all the people in the area, just like Christian Cardinal Tumi is saying. They burnt down all the houses, killed, burnt people alive in the houses. They even took out the son of a man of God, and they were about to kill him. Outside there, when the man of God stepped out and saw them, he spoke in French. I said it here before. The man of God himself gives his account that I spoke in French and I said, "Ça c'est mon fils." And then they all say, "Oh, stop. Il parle même français." Listen to that. Where's Takuncho? Mr. Ayuk Takuncho should tell the Biya government that they need to go give him further training in lies telling, in manipulation, because we are bigger than that and the world knows better than that. If there's one thing the world knows the Biafra government about, is all the evil you can imagine, especially lies telling and manipulation, because they lie in broad daylight, and when they are caught hands down, they don't even blink. They don't know how to be ashamed. Mr. Takuncho, you heard that. La République soldiers will enter there and mow down all the people in Egbeko if they had their chance because they are angry that the boys have been passing through Egbeko to come and attack their forces, and the people of Egbeko did not denounce them. Simply put, by the time I was coming into the studio to do this podcast, I received this SOS from Bengui. I asked the person that shared it with me if it was verified. He too could not say if it were carefully verified. I didn't have enough time to make calls to get findings, but I'm talking about it so that if you are in Acha Tugi, in Bengui, local government area, you will reach out to me. And I'm going to give my number here that you should call or send me a WhatsApp text to tell me whether this story is true or false. But because we know the pattern of operation of La République du Cameroon, I won't begin to doubt it. Because the story reads, and this is for the interest of Mr. Takuncho, Cameroon military abducts 3-year-old boy, and locks up the child at the Colonial Brigade at Obsession Bamenda. And the story goes, they say, a truck of colonial military thugs, like locusts, I don't mind the language, it's not mine, I'm reading, like locusts, swamped the village and grabbed this young woman and her 3-year-old child. This child was snatched from the mother in Acha in Menemo today, that's by the enraged military. Her crime, she is accused of having a child with an Amber boy. That an Amber boy fathered this 3-year-old child. The lady explained to them that the child's father died over 2 years ago. She even showed them his grave. The population watched in total consternation as the military dug up the baby's father's grave. Since it was raining heavily, they struggled to get to the coffin to no avail. The disgusted population that had gathered asked them what they wanted to do with the bones. Probably humiliated by the presence of a large crowd, the frustrated colonial grave diggers abandoned their macabre act and turned to the poor woman, the mother of the 3-year-old child. They eventually took the baby from the mother and demanded that she must produce the baby's father's family. Hear that. She must produce the baby's father's family. Why? Because they need to exterminate the family. That's exactly what the late Christian Cardinal Tumi was talking about here. That's exactly what they went to do in Egbeko. I've not authenticated this particular story, but it's a pattern. And I'll not be surprised if it ends up being true. So he said the dead boyfriend had told her he was originally from Cambe in Dongamantung County, so she knew nobody from his family. When he was killed, because she says that the boy was, he says, the woman explained that she met this guy who was an IDP and was doing Bambe at the motor park at Sanyere in Acha Tugi. And they started dating. So she said she fell pregnant soon after, and just after giving birth to the child, the boyfriend was killed. So she said the dead boyfriend told her he was from Dongamantung and she knew nobody from their family. So when he was killed, nobody came for his corpse, and so he was buried in Acha. That's why she could show the grave. And so how do they expect this poor single mother to produce the man's family during a war when she doesn't know them? I'm reading the story. So it said, true to the nature of this military, they asked for money from the woman. And the woman told them she had 24,000 CFA francs, doing all she could get from her trade. Of course, the military asked her to hand in the money, which she gave. But the military still took the baby away. So the baby is still with the military, and they say they are at Obsession Bamenda. And the military are saying until the mother produce the family of the deceased Amber boy, who is said to have impregnated her and had the 3-year-old baby with her, she will not be given back her baby. Listen, I said I have yet to authenticate this story, but it's a pattern because we saw it. And how did we see it? We saw the military of La République du Cameroon capture a pregnant woman in Boya, kept her in jail And she stayed there for months on end and even put to birth and was in jail with her only days old baby. Her only crime that she was a girlfriend to Braveheart No Pity. That was all. And she went through that ordeal. Even the newly born baby went through that ordeal and they were in jail for over 8 months. We also heard that this same military, and it's verified, captured family members, including the mother of Mr. of No Pity, of Braveheart No Pity, and detained them. Their only crime, they were relatives of No Pity. They have committed these acts so atrociously that we can't even begin to doubt them. So if you are listening to me and you're in Achatugi, use this number, +1 240 883 6443. +1 240 883 6443. Again, +1 240 883 6443. WhatsApp only. Reach out to me if you're out there in Achatugi and you have clear knowledge of this particular incident. I want to have all the details, names, and everything inclusive so that we should be able to channel this to the international rights organizations to do their job. So that said, I want us to go back to the late venerated Christian Cardinal Toomey.
It is perfectly true.
What? Okay. I'll
And
come
I'm
to
ready to die for it.
No, you did indicate earlier on that as a pastor you will stand for the truth. Now, has the church something to offer, given that we are at a level where we want hands to come on deck for these things to end? Mr. Moderator.
That was our problem. Do you call that rebellion?
No, I don't know. I wouldn't define
Of
rebellion.
course, it is a good rebellion. You can rebel. When I said a moment ago that a Christian is a rebel against evil.
But how do you reconcile that with the fact that the Bible requests that you pray for your leaders?
We pray for the rebels.
We pray for them.
Pray for the rebels?
Yes.
That God should help change them?
We pray for these boys in the bushes. We pray for the army. Most of the killing is done by the army. It's not done by these boys.
Do you have empirical facts?
Oh, of course. Objective study.
You hear? The late Christian Cardinal Toomey is clear. He's not talking from the blues. Objective studies, objective investigation. A finger man, an apprentice sorcerer like Takuncho, comes and sits and thinks he can play manipulation. Folks, I know you've really been on your seat so long following this broadcast. I know you want us to talk a bit about that occultic ritual conducted on November 6th called 41 years of celebration. We will come to it. But I'd like us to look at this other piece of insult. This is one other piece of insult too many. I have nothing against Francis Ganu. Francis Ganu is a young man. I admire him, who, fought his way through the ranks, and today he's a global celebrity. I've never heard Francis Ganu use the tribunes, the global tribunes open to him, to talk against the carnage, the genocide being visited on the people of Ambazonia. I've never heard him condemn, even for 1 second. Even at this moment I'm talking, I've not heard one word from Ganu condemning the evil atrocities in Mamfe that took place just on November 6th. But as usual, because Paul Biya and his gang of lunatics believe that sports is an opium to our people, they now tell themselves, let's use the Ganu brand to go and try and manipulate these people once more. My wrath against Ganu at this point is allowing himself to be used in this kind of fashion. He himself hasn't even been recognized by that same government. He returned from his wonderful exploit in the Middle East, entered Yaoundé like a thief in the middle of the night. No one at the airport to show him recognition. Yet he is ready to throw his hat in the ring to do Mr. Paul Biya's evil bidding in the name of visiting Ambazonia to come and talk trash that peace. I'd like anyone watching me now call Ganu's attention to the fact that we as a people, as Ambazonians, we know what we want. We want justice, we want freedom. There is no peace where there is no justice. Mr. Ganu should first of all feature in all the towns-turned villages because of no development, no road, nothing in La République du Cameroun, and convince his people there to understand how to change their destinies before allowing himself to be brought to come and offer lessons to people who know what they want in the southern Cameroons. So please, send word to Ganu, as you listen to me, send word to Ganu immediately that he will not be welcome in our land. Because as Martin Luther King Jr. says, in the end, we will know those who are our friends. Those who stayed silent in the face of a genocide being perpetrated against our people. That is how we will be able to determine who is our friend and who is not our friend. And Ganu definitely, it should be clear in his mind that on account of his silence, all this while, even right up until this minute, we don't count him as someone who understands the pain that we are living through. To God be the